Hi everyone. In this video, we're just going to do a couple examples of how to find the domain of a log function. So last class, when we made our list of properties and all about log functions, one thing that we wrote there was that we can only take the log of a positive number. So we're going to use that to figure out what the domain is of a couple different log functions. Okay, so we can only take the log of a positive number. So let's say that we want to find the domain of something like this. Okay, f of x equals log base 2. It doesn't really matter the base, you're going to see, for what we're going to do here. So we'll do two examples. This could have been base 10, could have been base anything, really, because when we're trying to find the domain, we're really focusing on this part right here, because that's what we're taking the log of. Remember, we say this as log base 2 of 3x minus 1. So the 3x minus 1 is what you're taking the log of, and so that has to stay positive, okay? We can't take the log of 0 or anything below. So we know that then 3x minus 1 has to stay greater than 0. Not greater than or equal to, strictly greater than. So that's what's going to figure out our domain here. We're going to figure out what x values are going to make this happen, and that's what our domain will be. So if I solve this one for x, and I bring over my 1, and I divide out my 3, what this is saying is that as long as x is greater than 1/3, then this piece right here is going to stay positive. So our domain is going to be, in interval notation, it would be 1/3 to infinity. With a soft, because 1/3 is no good, because if you plugged 1/3 in, you would get the log of 0, which, if you remember, this would be like saying 2 to some power equals a 0 if we put a 0 in there, which can't happen. When we're raising something to a power, we're not going to get a 0 out. So 1/3 is no good, just strictly greater than 1/3. So let's try another one. Okay, so let's try to find the domain of g of x equals log of 2 minus 5x. That's a 5. So a good thing you could try is just pause the video, see if you can come up with the domain of that, and then come back and check. So this one's base 10, which again, it doesn't really matter for what we're doing, but we're focusing on this part right here, and we know that that piece right there, kind of like the subject of the log, what we're taking the log of, has got to be greater than 0. There's a couple ways I can solve this inequality. If you remember you're going to have to just think about, if you divide by a negative, you have to reverse the inequality. One way to avoid that is to add the 5x over, and then I don't have to divide by a negative. So that's kind of up to you. If I bring over the 2, right, I subtract over the 2 like that, and if I divide out the negative 5 now, I do have to switch my inequality to x being less than, and then that comes out to be a positive. So remember, I'm reversing my inequality because I divided by that negative 5. So in this case, we're saying in order for our 2 minus 5x to stay greater than 0, x actually has to stay less than 2/5. If it gets bigger than 2/5 and we plug it back in here, then we start to get a negative. So then that means our domain is going to be anything below 2/5. Let's soft bracket on that because we can't include it. So those are the only examples. We just wanted to go through a few with finding the domain. So make sure you've copied all this down in your notes so that you can post it for a classwork grade. And then you can move on to the homework for section 4.3 and 4.5. Sorry, 4.3 and 4.4.